getting big on patient data sharing. Of course, security is a very big element now. लेकिन हम अभी जिस सेशन को डिस्कस कर रहे होंगे वो सेशन डेटा शेयरिंग, पेशेंट डेटा शेयरिंग के हवाले से है, और उसके लिए मैं दरख्वास्त दूंगा जनाब नदीम मलिक साहब को, जो कि डायरेक्टर हैं ऑरेकल के, and I think he's the best person to take this session forward. A big round of applause for Mr. Nadeem Malik.
Thank you, Wayne. This mic is problem, right? You guys can hear me okay? For all 3 sessions so far in this morning, I think one common word everybody is hearing is, what is that? Data. Where is it, that data? Where is it sitting? Who's owning it? What are they doing with it? Is that with you? Do you have your data? How many of you have data with you? Your own data. So you have a lost medical test with you right now? Okay, so you don't have it. So data is the key. That's, I think, only one word everybody remember since morning, right? So I'm going to elaborate on it. So you don't know where your data is. You don't know what they are doing with it. You don't, when you need it, it's not available to you. So that's the key. That's a missing connection, I think, to solve it. The second part with the data is, whoever is holding this data, they need to share. And why they need to share it. The one thing I think we hear last many years is data is a gold, the data is oil, data is next precious metal. But in health and healthcare industry, data is that life-saving drug which you need it when there's a time come to it. I think that's what we need to remember. But people who are holding this data become what we call in Urdu data is data, and they become undata of it because nobody wants to share that data. They think they can monetize it. They can exploit it. And that's sometimes it does good things, but sometimes it's not good things. So I think this is the key connection I will try to solve. I put that challenge in front of my panel and see if they can give you some answer towards it. Let me welcome my panel. Let me call Asad Khan, co-founder, Tabiyat, on the stage. Are you here, Asad? Okay, he's walking. So that's good. Good for health. I need to do that same thing. So I'm going to walk here. So I'll ask Wasif Khan, CEO Dewago. Please welcome. I don't think so we're serving lunch after this session. So please be attentive to it. I think Wasif Walker is joining us from Zoom, using the right use of technology. Please welcome him. Can I ask Nabil to come to the stage, please? From the Health Wire. Nabil, you're here. Nabil is not here? Oh, there you go. Welcome, guys. I hope we're going to have some engaging session. We're going to be a little more quick. I would like to be a little more crisp. So let me just put something to you, Vasir, first. I think we would talk about doctors, we talk about technology. I think one thing I felt we left is secondary healthcare professions like technologists, radiologists, nursing staff. They're a very important part of our healthcare system. I think that's one part we need to be there. But the pharmacy is another very important part. And I want... Hello? Okay. Wasa, please explain it to me. We see a traditional pharmacy is no different than a general store. It's like I'm going for grocery shopping. I'll give you my prescription, you read that encrypted message from the doctor, which I cannot read myself, and you just hand me over the medicine, whether it's a controlled medicine, whether it's uncontrolled medicine. How are you guys bringing change?
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you very much for this opportunity. So I'm representing Davago, pharmacy and wellness experts. It's an omni business. It's retail pharmacies and online pharmacies. So what small contribution we are trying to make in Pakistan is that in every retail pharmacy of ours, we have 2 to 3 pharmacists, qualified pharmacists, doctors of pharmacies available. And our reason to believe is that we sell only authentic medicines bought directly from the companies or the distributors, temperature controlled medicines, and pharmacists available. I think that's the biggest differentiating point between a pharmacy chain like us and others also who are there, online chain also, online stores, pharmacy stores and retail pharmacies, is that we have pharmacists available with us, unlike the mom and pop pharmacy stores, the traditional ones. And that's a very important aspect because what we have to realize now is that pharmacists are a key part of the whole food chain and they are the specialists on medicines. So when a customer or patient comes in our store, what we have seen is that a lot of time they're confused about the medicines. The doctors cannot give complete time to them explaining on why they're giving the medicine, how to use that, what are the side effects. So when these patients and these customers come to our stores or talk to our call centers, our pharmacists try to explain them what these medicines are all about, how to consume them, try to give them guidance and reassure them. That builds their confidence on the healthcare system, not just on the Davago. So I think that's an important aspect that what we are trying to bring in. And relating that to data is extremely important. We do have our own data of customers. But if we can digitize the whole data and the data is accessible to the pharmacy chains from the hospitals and the doctors and the whole network, that will help us serve the patients and customer in a better manner.
Great. So, Asad, let me just put this question to you. Connecting data in physician's prescription, where he writes, digitally going to the pharmacy. Is that part of the platforms, or does it happens? And would that solve part of the problem?
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. So I'm Asad Khan. I'm the co-founder and CEO for Meds and More. So as a background, I've spent about 17 years in the West in healthcare technology. So my last role in UK was with the company IQVIA. So I used to be the country manager for UK and Ireland. So I've led some of the largest healthcare projects in Europe. And a couple of points I wanted to make. In West, the entire aim is towards preventative care, right? And preventative care means that how do we stop people getting to hospital? Because once a patient gets to hospital, it's already too late. So वहाँ पे जो key होता है, वो होता है कि how do we use data to prevent patients getting sick, right? उसके लिए the most important thing, so if you want to talk about preventative healthcare, the most important data set in that is primary healthcare data, because that's where you can actually look at के symptoms क्या change हो रहे हैं. So few of the projects I led on was where we were trying to predict onset of diabetes in patients in UK. So we were collecting terabytes of data from NHS clinics, NHS hospitals, etc. So Pakistan के अंदर एक तो I think when we do want to talk about preventative healthcare, I think we do want to start collecting primary healthcare data, and prescription is one part of that, right? Prescription जो लिखी जाती है primary healthcare में. And secondly, I think on patient confidentiality, I think one thing which took most of the time in projects in the West was how do we get regulatory access to get access to patient data. उसके अंदर सबसे important चीज़ होती है बाहर the entire developed world, वो होता है patient consent, right? So the patient has to agree to that. तो आपके question के ऊपर prescription पे, yes, I think there are quite a few companies already. We are one of them who are trying to digitize this prescription, right? So if a doctor writes a prescription, that prescription needs to be digitally passed on to a pharmacy. So pharmacy के अंदर पाकिस्तान का unfortunately, I think Davago is a refreshing, is a refreshing air, जो is a modern pharmacy. But normally pharmacies के पास कोई system नहीं होते, right? There is no system in pharmacies जहाँ पे आप prescription भेज सकें. For us as a digital online pharmacy, I think yes. I think we speak to most of the healthcare systems out there. I think we even are trying to implement HL7, जो सारे clinical systems से बात करती हैं. So digital prescription, एक तो side ये है कि वो digital prescription आपकी issue हो जाए. I think we want to go beyond that. So a digital prescription should also include medications, follow-ups, diagnostics. So बाहर आपके पास सारे treatments के, so for diabetes patient, there is a whole care pathway right? How do you manage diabetes patient? How do you manage asthma patient? How do you manage certain disease? वो सारी pathways जो हैं वो आप platform पे build कर सकते हैं. So if somebody comes to your platform for diabetes, a platform actually can manage their care on our side. So our digital prescription, yes, I think digital prescription can go beyond just the medications. A digital prescription can actually look at the care pathway for that patient and manage the journey.
Excellent. The key takeaway is if the doctor writes prescription, send it to the pharmacy digitally. Pharmacists can also look the contradiction among the medicines written by the doctor as well. I think this is a good aspect towards it. Consolidation of the data, we've seen the case study from the global practices. I think one of the things I just want to highlight it, we talked about earlier and by the Ericsson guy is the Turkey example. It's a consolidation of the data. So we need to understand a few things. How the data flow between the ecosystem, for example, is digital prescription from doctor to pharmacy. How this data is available at one single source. So if you open your phone, you can see what the last prescription you had, where you bought it, what kind of blood test you have, when did you go, what kind of symptoms were there. And the Turkey is the one example. So E plus E nubs. So Nabil, I'm going to come to you for that because elaborate, that's a consolidation. Does that do the more than consolidation? And how would that be implemented and across Pakistan? Do we have that, all the missing links?
I'm Nabil, co-founder and CTO of Healthware. So it's been great to be a part of this event. I have studied both the models. I have studied the model of Turkey as well as the US. So एक data set banana, it's very complicated because the Turkey has started the bottom-up approach. They first standardize the basic EMR, EHR, and then they, from bottom, they go to the top. वहाँ पे basically आपका जितना system है, they are standardized on the stages. Once you fill the basic EHR 10%, they are give you that grade. Then if you fill more EHR, it means more EHR features. It depends upon the utilization of the EHR system. Right now in Pakistan, there is a huge gap. According to our research and studies, only 4% of the doctors and hospitals are using EHR properly. And out of that 4%, 95 are using HealthWire. But in US, they are almost above 90%. They are using 90% EHR system. So they are getting data across every party. They are combining every stakeholder, like pharmacies. They have control over their data. I would like to extend your point that we are talking about data, we are talking about sharing of data, but where is the data? Right now we are focusing that we will develop a mechanism that we can share those data and we can enhance the patient experience, we can help in diagnosis. But my area of concern is right now only 4% of the doctors are using EMR and EHR system. So right now we are not populating data on that pace the US and Turkey is producing. So we cannot train our AI models based on US and Turkey data. So if you are going to train your artificial intelligence model based on that data, so it will not be a market fit product. We have to look our market because many giants come with their product from US and they tried in Pakistan market, but it was not according to market fit product. बना ही नहीं सके. The reason is dynamics different है, audience different है, thinking process different है, और utility of the system. My question is, अगर आप पाकिस्तान के health system को improve करना चाहते हैं, तो सबसे पहले तो enforcement of digitization होना चाहिए. This is where the healthware comes in. हमारा focus ही है कि a patient should record, a doctor should record patient's data digitally. Once the data is digitally stored, we can combine all the stakeholders together. It's a win-win condition for all of us. But first we have those data, those components, then we can integrate. Right now we cannot give a good patient experience to customers because we are just monetizing. We are trying to monetizing them, but we are not giving them real value. कि यार ये आपकी generation में ये चीज़ चल रही है, आप इस workout करें, आपकी third generation को diabetes हो सकती है. We are on a reactive approach rather than on a proactive approach. So.
Got your point. I'm going to come to the Yusuf as well. You're right. The data is in silos, but you say where the data is. Data is available. Yusuf, data is available with the with all these testing laboratories. When you go there for your blood work, they have this data available with them. Pharmacy may not have the medicine data who's been prescribed to, but they have what kind of medicine has been in demand today. You know, where been they supplied, which area they've been supplying more Disprin than anything else. People are holding this data, and they're securing this data, but sharing is, one of the thing is, in sharing, my biggest concern is the security. Even doctors do not use technology. They are not illiterate people. So how do we improve them? How do we remove this science?
I think the first thing is to have the right technology solution, as we were talking about it earlier, and using the data from NADRA and the polio eradication scheme and the COVID, we have those data. The other thing is that how do we remove the silos is that there should be a centralized data monitoring authority. And through that, the data should coming into the system. And need to know basis, the data can be given to different healthcare sectors. Extremely important is the people aspect. We need to have right people on the bus in the overall health network of government and the private sector, and build their capability, build their motivation level, so that they can serve the patients in a better manner. It all starts with people, it all ends with people.
Absolutely.
No matter how good your technology solution is. So I think technology, right authority with the SOPs, policy frameworks, like that data for the customers and patients' well-being. Excellent.
One very interesting case. IBM Watson can read an X-ray and predict 92% of the dry time if it's a cancer patient. Much more stronger than any experienced doctor. It's got computer vision. And they have over 60 million records reported to the computer. That's the key of the data. You have large data sets. You can train computers to predict your prescription of your disease. Let me just ask you to come over to the center of the stage. I think till we resolve this problem. How long is it going to be? Still going on? Okay. Okay. Maybe let's start. With all missing pieces, available pieces, where do we start? We have to start somewhere. We already have started some journey.
Yeah.
But
So I think fundamental problem in Pakistan healthcare, or what we need to focus on, is building primary
that's
healthcare.
it.
Right? Yeah. I think fundamentally जो हमने solve करना है पाकिस्तान में, वो तो so we don't have to do what West is doing. So मैं सबसे कहता था कि West ने hundreds of billions of dollars spent in systems बनाने के लिए, they cannot move away from those systems. हमारे पास advantage ये है that we can leapfrog technology cycles. जिस तरह बस अफ्रीका के अंदर बच्चों ने लैपटॉप्स नहीं देखे, डेस्कटॉप्स नहीं देखे, स्मार्टफोन्स देखे, so they leapfrog two technology cycles. इस तरह हेल्थकेयर के अंदर जो systems अब हम implement कर सकते हैं, they can go straight into clouds, right? तो cloud level, provincial level systems बन सकते हैं, हमारे पास national level systems बन सकते हैं, because nothing exists. हम standardization को भी ला सकते हैं, but उसके लिए essential है. If we really want to build a sustainable healthcare system, we need to figure out how do we start collecting primary healthcare data. So, and also hospital is the most inconvenient and the most expensive care. So we can put all of Pakistan's budget into a health insurance card, but आप hospitals में treat नहीं कर सकते. So for us to build sustainable healthcare in Pakistan, we need to start focusing on primary healthcare. On primary healthcare के ऊपर, I think we need to work with companies like HealthWire to start collecting primary healthcare data.
Great. सबने कहा कि हर एक के हाथ में बहुत फ़ोन है पाकिस्तान में कोई 89 million subscriptions हैं, over 200 million people are using the phone. Maybe the phone can be used with healthcare. Every phone has probably 3 apps: Facebook, WhatsApp, TikTok. How many have in this audience have any health app on your phone? One. 2, 3, 4. Can you make a TikTok type of health food kind of app look like a TikTok or WhatsApp? I think the one thing is the app needs to have that value creation in it. Otherwise, even people talk about the financial app on their phone, the data is dismissal. The very few people use their bank app on their phone. Very few. Even a credit card holder does. So I think the app problem need to be resolved as well. So that I'm going to question come to you. How can we make your app act like a TikTok? So everybody will use it all the time.
I think it's a very difficult question because we are in a very serious business. We are in healthcare, which is very sensitive. And yes, it's challenging because people, it's a total different mindset. It's about awareness. If we invest on awareness regarding health, people will more download the health apps. Because right now the awareness in West, in US is quite different from Pakistan. People are more interested on the Facebook, TikTok, and all that stuff. But yes, we can make a health app like TikTok if we engage. We can daily activity, walking steps. We can introduce those sort of features on which can be used or consumed on daily basis. Like we can introduce the BMI BMI calculators type features, so people can use it once at least to monitor their daily activities, how much they are walking, how actually they are doing on a daily basis. So we can track, and it's quite very challenging that if you want to give a TikTok experience or Facebook experience in a health app.
Oh, well, some people are probably working on it. I can give you some more examples. Wasif, Yusuf, I'm gonna come to the same question to you because you've been in consumer group Pepsi. Because when they come, social media is one of the strongest medium they use to reach out the customer and protect their brand value. Can you relate your experience of the consumer with the same thing as healthcare reaching out to everyone?
Absolutely. I think ultimately what you want to try to determine is what does the consumer want, and you have to look to meet their needs. So if you through market insights, through research, if you can, and talking to the consumer in other ways as well, if you can discover what they actually need out of such app, then you're much more likely to be able to develop an application which speaks to them, which they then want to use. And then that also relates to making it user-friendly. So often, I think where we find issues in engaging with consumers through applications is where the application is cumbersome or difficult to enter, to use, not very user-friendly. So I think you have to invest time in understanding your consumer and then building something which meets their needs, which is user-friendly. And if you meet those two things, I think the companies so when you talk about, let's become TikTok users, I mean, analyze what it is that makes TikTok, appealable to mass consumers. And if you can, obviously a health app is never going to be a TikTok application, but if you can mimic some of the features of that, which makes it relatable to its users, and bring that into the health app sphere, then I think you're going to find a lot of take up. The other thing I would say is that you need to educate the consumer as well. So even when you build something that's great, if nobody knows about it, if nobody knows what features or what benefits it can bring to you as a consumer, then you're unlikely to see mass take-up. So the second step, I think, is educating the way in which a health app can really help the consumer to benefit in their day-to-day lives and benefit the lives of their families. I think if you are able to meet those challenges, then you stand ahead of many in being able to really develop an application which is going to be taken up by the mass. And as has been said by esteemed panelists earlier in the day, you already have mass usage of technology in Pakistan. The facilities are there. It's up to us as business leaders to meet and the consumer is using those facilities, on a mass scale. We just need to be able to tap into that and use it in the right way, which is going to appeal and bring benefit to our consumers.
Great. There are a lot of steps going on by the government of Pakistan. Data Protection Act, which has recently been enacted, protects your data, give access your data to yourself, and there's going to be doing a lot of consolidation work. So that law also putting some authority together as well. So there's a good news. We are moving to the right direction. One of the key consumer of this data is from pharmaceutical industry. They have the biggest appetite of the data. So I think I'm going to ask the question to you. How could they access this data and what can they do with it? You're in pharmacy business. So I don't have a pharmaceutical guy on panel, but definitely I would like to know myself as well. They have the biggest appetite, any sort of data. You know, disease demographic, what kind of medicine work, what caused it, what kind of segment got affected, whether this is young generation or the old generation or gender levels. So they don't need your name and your address, your CNIC number, your bank account, but they just generally need large data sets for their own research. And this whole system, ecosystem, we're talking about consolidation, because that's, again, life-saving, because they can stock the right medicines, they can make the right medicine, they can have a distribution on the right side. I think that's when you guys coming into the play.
I think that's the key for R&D, research and development. That's why in Pakistan you see limited R&D happening in the pharmaceutical sector. A lot of local pharmaceutical companies are doing a good job in that. But most of the R&D, the breakthrough is happening globally in the developed world. And one of the key aspects is data sciences. How the data is being collected and how that data is being analyzed so that breakthrough can be done on different diseases. While pharmaceutical companies do have data relating to their own brands, but it has to go beyond that. And for that, the whole ecosystem has to be in sync in collecting the data. Like I was talking about, you now have almost all of Pakistan COVID vaccinated. So that is all digitized data available. You have polio vaccination drives happening. You can digitize that data. You have NADRA, which is probably Pakistan is one of the most positive and highly rated countries in terms of data availability of citizens. So how can NADRA and the government play a role in that? And then the hospital network, as you were talking about, how do the doctors capture the data, which is probably, there's an opportunity area in that. If all that can be done, and through a framework, through an SOP, if that can be shared, as I said, with all the stakeholders, specifically the pharmaceutical organizations who do the development of the drugs, then I think we can see a lot of these diseases going away from this world, and a lot of pain and suffering that the world is seeing. Even COVID is a great example. The whole world was at a standstill for what? More than a year, despite of us being so developed and the whole technology and everything. So that should open up our eyes that data is something that we need to deep dive into, collect it, analyze it.
Good. Yeah. So, if we start making this e-nubs, which is right behind you, do you think we can make like a 10-20% today and take the journey from there? Of course, journey has to start at the government level. Would that be possible today with what's available, what's happening?
जी, I think एक तो इसके दो levels हैं इसके. एक level इसके हैं, is the data actually available to collect? So जो आप app की बात करें, so app is very useful. App is very useful if you can actually monitor कि आपकी health के साथ क्या हो रहा है, right? आपके weight loss हो रहे हैं, आपके कोई symptoms change हो रहे हैं. So that makes it interesting. बाहर क्योंकि availability of data बहुत अच्छा है, तो आपका सारा patients data आपकी app पे नज़र आ रहा है. आपके hospital appointments, आपके primary health care, आपके diagnostic, all of that information is available on the app because it's available. Pakistan में, I think Pakistan में data availability बहुत patchy. I think the best data available in Pakistan is probably pharmacy sales data. जो I think pharma industry has access to that pharmacy sales data. Disease prevalence का data क्योंकि hospitals record नहीं करते हैं, right? If you leave out Aga Khan and a couple of other hospitals, जो majority of the healthcare हो रही है वो सरकारी hospitals में हो रही है, right? That's where most of the people are going. वहाँ पे there is no mechanism to save data, to share that information. I think बहुत इतना मुश्किल काम नहीं है. NADRA, I think, is an example. जहाँ पे I think we can build something ground up and we can build a standardized data collection centers. इसी तरह West के अंदर HL7 एक चीज़ होती है. I think you mentioned about HL7. I think that's an international standard. जिसके ऊपर सारे hospitals पाकिस्तान के वो data collect कर सकते हैं जो share हो सकता है. दूसरी चीज़ उसके अंदर है बाहर access to that information. I think अगर आप पेशेंट डाटा अवेलेबल कर देंगे ओपनली, राइट? सो अगर फर्स्ट कर इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज के पास चला जाता है वो डाटा, इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज विल नो कि किस बंदे का रिस्क प्रोफाइल क्या है, उनके प्रीमियम्स चेंज हो सकते हैं. सो इट्स अ वेरी वेल गार्डेड डाटा सेट हेल्थ केयर का जो होता है. उसके लिए पूरे मैकेनिक्स बाहर बने हुए हैं कि यार इसको एनोनिमाइज करें, सो nobody gets access to patient identifiable information. I think that's the easy part. Collection is the hard part.
We can start the journey. I don't wear a smartwatch because I don't want to have a heart attack every hour, because when I'll watch it and something tell me different, right? Specifically 9 o'clock Monday morning when my boss talked to me. So I think that's some of the insurance companies are using it. So if you send to share your data with insurance company or your wearables, they probably can help you reduce your things because they know how long you walk and when you sleep, when you don't do it. So I can always put that watch on my dog. I think then I'll be a very healthy man because he runs all the time. So coming back again, I think one other thing is saving life, because the data in your hand and data is saved shared across all the processes and everything. Pharmacies have major played a role, physician has major played a role, and people who are basically doing the diagnostics. But let me tell you, a lot of government hospitals, they're, if you don't know, but they're still automated. A lot of data is being captured there. A lot of pharmaceutical industries are interested in those data because the large population of Pakistan can give you the large set of data, and that's the value coming into it. So I think, I don't know how much time I have. I'm gonna wrap it up. So last thought, data privacy, data prevention, data sharing. Sounds like I don't wanna do it. That's what the excuse comes in. How would we enable all the stakeholder that this sharing is gonna save lives? That's the theme. So if I tell you, you're sitting in front of that stakeholder and you wanna put that theme in his mind, that data sharing, I understand security, privacy, protection, whatever. What would you say one liner, two liner to him? Yusuf.
I think it's a massive opportunity. It will save lives. It will make the customer experience much better in general. We have to couple that with building a culture of using the data in the right way. And if we have that culture, then things like compliance with laws and regulations, ensuring that we're treating data safely and protecting it for the benefit of our consumers, I think that would follow.
Wasif? I'll start from the middle,
Yeah.
then I'll go sideways.
So I think we all need to understand all
Two-liners.
the stakeholders.
Stakeholders.
We are connecting to a higher purpose, which is about saving lives. So I believe that there will never be a foolproof data security. There will be issues, there will be challenges in that. There can be measures, of course, can be taken, but it's for a higher purpose. So I think even data on Facebook of everyone, it's open. So it's for a higher purpose. So I think it's high time we get into this data sharing model and cross sectors. And overall, it's going to bring better things for the world. Yeah.
I would say that initiatives of responsibility and accountability. If an organization has the data, it should be accountable for that. And if they violate, there should be a proper accountability of violation of data. But sharing of data can save a lot of lives, because I have personally be a victim of this, because my mother died due to non-sharing of data. She was in village, I was in Lahore, so I just got a call that she got attacked. I didn't have a common PR number or CNIC that doctor in village or tehsil could see her details. So it can save a lot of lives.
Absolutely agree with all the hosts. I think, as Yusuf said, this is the largest opportunity of any industry right now, and this can only be achieved by sharing healthcare data. We just need to make sure that we have the right protocols in place. And in Pakistan, I think the opportunity is even bigger because nothing exists. So we can build systems from scratch.
Absolutely. History tells U.S. Department of Defense released satellite imagery technology to build MRI. You know, the MRI which we all use today for early diagnostics. they released 20 years earlier than they were anticipating, just because of the greater good. Mercedes developed ABS braking system. They never patented because it saved lives. So data sharing for all stakeholders. If you are one of them, please amplify this message. If you are the data actually generating it, amplify this message. I thank you very much, all of you. I really appreciate. I think I wish we had more time to learn more from you guys, but it's an amazing experience. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Big applause. So let me invite Mr. Syed Nadeem Ahmed, Group MD and CEO, Cyril and IBL Group, for the seal distribution. Few words.
I think that I'm in the next panel,
Okay,
so
go.
maybe I'll take the lead from this point and carry on my.
You want to hold on to your thoughts? Good. Please. Let me just see who's there. Nabil. Wasif. Asad. Please. Yusuf will zoom you in your trophy, shield, digitally.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate that.
Nadeem
Thank
साहब
you
के
very
लिए
much.
भी शील्ड है, please.
Okay.
A big round of applause.